basic matzo ball formula is for a family of 4. That's 2 matzo balls each for a total of 8. It takes 1 cup of matzo meal to make about 8 matzo balls. So the basic formula is 1 cup of matzo meal with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of chicken fat or oil, 4 eggs, and 4 tablespoons of chicken soup broth. And for each additional serving of 2 matzo balls, add another 1/4 cup of matzo meal, 2 teaspoons of oil, 1 egg, and 1 tablespoon of broth. You can use olive oil or even vegetable oil if you don't have enough chicken fat, but it really should be chicken, goose, or duck fat for the original flavor. You can also use chicken flavoring in water if you don't have chicken soup. An important part of the process of making matzo balls is to soak the matzo meal before cooking, so it absorbs the liquids and is bound together by the egg. Using less egg makes them denser, and they're called sinkers since they sink to the bottom. To make them fluffier and lighter so they float, and then are called floaters, add a little extra egg to the mix. You shouldn't add baking soda or baking powder, because matzo balls and matzah itself is not supposed to be leavened. Both powders also have a slight flavor, and a gram too much will make the balls fall apart when cooked. I also don't recommend using carbonated water to make floaters, because the carbonation will leave the water during the soaking process, and all you'll be left with is the slightly bitter taste of carbonated water. And if you don't allow them to soak first, carbonation will make them puffier, but they'll be drier and lack as much flavor in the center, unless you boil them so long that they're waterlogged. Waterlogged are floaters that sink, lose-lose. So, start the balls by adding the eggs to the bowl of oil. Anytime we're adding eggs to a recipe, we want to crack it against a flat surface, or another egg, so we don't accidentally cause any shell fragments to be pushed into the egg, which can happen if we break them against an edge. Then break the egg into a glass dish and examine it for shell fragments, blood spots, or impurities before adding it to the mixture. If a piece of shell needs to be removed, the easiest way is to use another piece of shell to break the surface and scoop it up. Scramble the eggs and the oil together with the salt. Then mix in the soup, or water with chicken flavoring if you're using that. Finally, stir in the matzo meal, and then let the mixture stand for half an hour while the matzo meal absorbs all the liquid, and the mix becomes like a light clay. Bring a large pot of water on highest heat to a rapid boil. It's easiest to use a scoop or a spoon to make balls about 1/4 cup size by volume. They will double in size when cooked. Wet your hands so the balls don't stick to them, and roll each ball smooth before dropping it into the water. If you have a lot of balls, do them in batches. Don't crowd too many into the pot at one time. 8 is about the most in a 12-inch round pot. Remember, they will double in size. As soon as you add a batch to the water will cool slightly and stop boiling rapidly. Keep the heat on highest until the water returns to a rapid boil. Then, turn the heat down to a low boil and cover the pot. It's very important to cover the pot and keep it covered, or the matzo balls will not expand to their size properly. Boil for 20 to 30 minutes, and then remove one and cut it in half to see if it's cooked all the way through. When they're done, you can put them in a strainer, and then serve them in the soup, or keep them warm in a pot of soup for several hours. They can also be stored in an airtight container and reheated in a microwave, or by placing them in boiling water for 2 minutes.